Hi class, that's lecture 39. Let's go over our second case study about education. I'm your instructor, Ms. Laura Low. That's our second case study and our last lecture. So yeah, after you've watched all the video from this lecture page, that's all our lecture. So in this lecture, we will have some example. So then actually is, I need your help for your input. How, as a professor, how you will deal with that. Okay, so we see the first example. I need your help to estimating the exam scores. So this one actually kind of happen quite often. Every semester we have one or two this situation. Okay, so I need you to help me to give the midterm exam score. Okay, so we just see in a large course, we in that course they have 2 midterm exam. For our we only have 1. Okay, so in a large course, not this one, they have 2 midterm exam. So of course, every student has to take both midterm exam to get the final grades, right? So yes, most students did. But unfortunately, John was sick for the second midterm exam. So he emailed the instructor. So the instructor excused his illness. So then he didn't take the midterm exam. So now it's come to the final grade. We need to submit the final grade. So as a professor, how will you assign John a grade for this course? Okay, so give you more information about this 2 midterm exam is about this course is not scaled. This course is graded on an absolute scale that allocates 90 points to the midterm exam. So for the first midterm exam is 40 points, and the second midterm exam is 50 points. Okay, so now that's me. John missed the second midterm exam. So if you think about, how about we just using the first midterm exam grade for the second midterm exam, since the total point is different. Okay, so we cannot do that. So if you are the professor, how will you do that? So of course, here we will discuss a couple different options. But before we go to each option, how about you help me to think about, so maybe you have some other option, not list what we have here. So pause the video, think about what you have. Then I will go over the option we have here. Okay, so I just assume you pause the video, discuss it with your peer, right? Okay, so that's the, so you have your idea. So yeah, so you have the idea. So then how about you also help me to evaluate the option I have here. So the first option we have is, how about we scale up midterm 1 score? Okay, so like earlier we said, because the midterm 1 is only 40 points. So midterm 2 is 50 points. So how about instead we just using John's midterm 1 grade? How about we just have the ratio according to what the John's grade in the midterm 1 to compare to that total points 40 points. So then we just scale up to match the 50 points. So just say for example, John got 21 out of 40 on midterm 1. So in order to give him a grade for the 50 point for the midterm 2, how about we just scale that? So one thing is, since midterm 1 he got 21 out of 40, we just using this ratio. So then we times 50. So then we got 26.25 out of 50 for midterm 2. So that's mean equivalently we assign here the total scored will be 26.25 for the midterm 2. On the other hand, that's also mean from this 90 points, so he got using the ratio from the midterm 1 he get, So 21 divided by 40 times total midterm 1, midterm 2 is 90. So he got 47.25. Yeah, that's one option we can do, right? But what is the good and bad for this option? Yeah, you may have your idea about what is good, what is the bad, right? Okay, so for me, I think as a professor, as the person need to give the grades, I think this one, right, it's very simple. I just need to do one calculation, I'm done. So that's easy for me. But the bad thing is what? The bad thing actually, yeah, that's the only information I have, right? So we are not sure John did a good job or a bad job in the midterm 1. Okay, so but no matter what, that's his ratio he get. So we use this one to scale the whole thing. However, we have 2 midterm exam. Unless the 2 midterm exam, the difficulty are similar, then we do the scale. It's okay. But for example, if maybe midterm 1 is easier, midterm 2 is more difficult, so then here, yeah, John will maybe be happier because, yeah, the midterm 2 he will use the same scale. Or on the other hand, maybe midterm 1 is more difficult, but midterm 2 is easier. Okay, so then he doesn't have the chance to have a kind of a better score. Okay, so that's why here, for this option, for me, I think it's very easy, very simple to calculate. If for a person need to give the grades, yeah, for me that's easy. But the bad thing is we didn't consider the difficulty or how much they cover in both the different, because midterm 1 definitely in the first few chapter. So then midterm 2. So then also we cannot kind of include the learning curve from here. So that's the bad thing. Okay. Okay, but anyway, besides that, how about we get more information about the midterm 1 and midterm 2? So then we see the demo file. Okay, so in this demo file, actually we do give you the midterm 1 and midterm 2 information. So you can see in this table, the score table, we have, oh, that's really a big course, right? So we have 1,600, more than 1,600 row. Okay, so then you can see the midterm 1, midterm 2 score here. So that's why if we get more information, we can try to calculate the midterm 1 score for the average, right? So then we also see the standard deviation. Yeah, that's very good to number to see how these two exam. So then you can see if we get the midterm 1 average. The midterm 1 average is actually 28 point. But be careful, this one is out of 40. So the standard deviation is almost 7. So the midterm 2 average is a little higher, it's 31. But remember, midterm 2 actually the total point is 50 point. So then here the standard deviation is higher than midterm 1 as well. And also it's kind of almost close to double. Okay, so then from here, what you got more information about these two midterm exam. Okay, so from here we know more information about these two midterm exam. So let's go to see our option 1 again. Now, like earlier we say, right, the option 1 we just do very easy calculation. We use exactly the same ratio John got in the midterm 1. Then we enlarge to midterm 2. So that's why his midterm 2 exam grade is 26.25. This one is very easy to calculate. But if this class is the data science class, we need to know more data, right? Because it's easy to calculate that, but we didn't consider the difficulty about the 2 midterm exam. And we didn't consider the whole class, how all the population, how they did their distribution about this 2 midterm exam. So that's why here, after we know the average and the standard deviation for this 2 midterm exam, let's do some calculation we see. Okay, so the first thing we just see here, from the midterm 2, our estimation is 26.25, right? Let's see how this value compared to the average. So that's why we see here 26.25 minus 31.06. So that would be a negative 4.8. Okay, but that's John's, right? So actually, his midterm 2 exam will be below the average, almost 5 points. But compared to, then here, actually, let's add one more column. Yeah, we run the, also see here, on the midterm 1, on his grades compared to the average, actually is below the average more than 7 points. Okay, but you see, compared to the average is not enough, right? Because we learned the standard deviation. We also want to see from the standard unit how they look like. Also, that will be more clear. So that's why here, if we get the standard unit for the midterm 2, we're using the estimate value to minus the average for midterm 2 and divide by standard deviation. So actually, the absolute unit, the standard unit will be negative 4.2. But then compared to the midterm 1, actually his standard unit is negative 1. So these two actually kind of is not really, we use the ratio to scale up. It's easy to calculate, but we didn't consider the distribution for the both exam. So since we know about the standard unit and we know the midterm 1 and midterm 2 average and the standard deviation, can we come out a better option? Okay, so that's what is our option 2. Okay, so our option 2 is, how about we use the z-score? In other words, how about we use the standard unit? Okay, so if John scored 1 standard deviation below the mean on midterm 1, so then maybe we should use similar score to assign him the midterm 2. So that will be the same 1 standard deviation below the mean. Okay, so if we use this option, what is the good and what is the bad about this approach? Think about that. So then think about yours, then I will tell you how I think. Okay, so what is the good, what is the bad? The good thing is, compared to the option 1, of course, this one is, the good thing is we did consider not only John's performance from the first midterm exam, we scale up. So this one, if we use the standard unit, we also consider the whole distribution for the midterm 1 and the midterm 2. Okay, so then we use the standard unit to find the midterm 2 exam. And also the, of course, this one we need to have our both midterm exam, the mean and the standard deviation information. So then, yeah, as a professor, as an instructor, we can get that. The bad thing is, of course, the good thing we consider both distribution for the 2 exams, but we also assume all the students perform the same as midterm 2 and the midterm 1. Okay, so on the other hand, you know, sometimes that means your 2 exams, the whole population perform the same. But that's possible? No, right? Because some students, they maybe struggle at the first beginning. Their midterm 1, they didn't do well. But then after they pass the learning curve, actually they perform better in the midterm 2. Of course, we have the opposite. Maybe students feel midterm 1 is easy. So then midterm 2, they didn't pay so much attention or didn't really study that hard. So then they didn't do as